The Neoliner Origin, the world's largest cargo sail ship, is unfortunately facing more bad weather on the Atlantic. This is their current position. We're going to look at what the conditions are there right now and what it's going to be like for the next 7 days. Let's have a look at my favorite part of any ship, which is the bridge. So we'll look at the bridge equipment and I'll tell you exactly what this is all for. On her first voyage across the Atlantic, she got some damage to the sail, her aft sail, and here you can see the panels are all folded together, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 panels here, but she should have a total of 11, so that tells me that they have taken off some panels to repair them. So let's see if they were successful. On this episode of Maritime Insights from a Deck Officer, another update on the world's largest cargo sail ship, the Neoliner Origin, and its crew. Now, this is the second episode on the Neoliner Origin, and in this episode I will have a look at her current position and weather conditions. And unfortunately, it is not pretty. They just can't seem to find a break from the high waves and the high winds on the Atlantic. They made their first Atlantic crossing from Europe to North America, and they had some bad weather, and it also damaged one of their sails. And now they're on their way back, and again they are facing high winds and high waves. Now I will also update you on the damaged sail and if it was repaired or not, and I will explain the bridge equipment on board the Neoliner Origin. Now, in the previous episode, I explained how the sails got damaged and how the solid sail system works. So for that video, visit my YouTube channel or click the link in the description down below. Before we get started, I actually noticed something interesting. So the Neoliner Origin is actually classified as a ro-ro cargo ship, which means that you can roll on and roll off cargo. You can think about cars and trucks and trailers, or even containers when they're on a flatbed that you can roll on and off the ship, or other heavy equipment. Basically everything that you can roll on and roll off, that is what this ship transports. Now, my very first ship was the Schiborg, which was also a ro-ro. So after my Maritime Academy, I joined as a third officer on this first ship. We went from Zeebrugge to Göteborg to the North Sea mostly, and that's where I really learned how to sail a ship. So we had on top, we had truck trailers, and in the 2 lower decks, we had containers with paper. And yeah, as you can see, we still had paper charts back then. Now these days, most ships are all equipped with electronic charts. So is the Neoliner Origin, and we're going to have a look at that here in a second. Here's the latest position from the Neoliner Origin, right here in the middle. They left Baltimore on this side over here of North America, and then they are making their way across the North Atlantic Ocean to Montoir, France, right about over here. Look how busy it is. There's a lot of ships going back and forth, and they're all dealing with some bad weather, especially in this area over here where it is kind of black, where there's not a lot of ships. But yeah, they're all diverting a little bit further south to get out of this crappy weather. Now, how crappy is it? I'll show you right here. This is their position right over here right now. And that is still 6.5 meters of waves with a period of 10 seconds. So that is quite substantial. But you can see this is all black over here, which means very high waves. Let's have a look at the weather forecast for the Neoliner Origin and its crew. They are right now here in this number 1 position. They left from Baltimore and they're making their way to Montoir, France, right over here. And they are still having to cover 2,231 nautical miles. And I put this track on here with a speed of 12 knots. So it can give us an indication of what kind of weather they will encounter. But they are probably going to stay a little bit behind it, or else they would be in it the whole way. Now, their ETA is showing for November 16th. But according to this calculation, with 12 knots, they could arrive there already on the 14th of November. But, you know, they are sailing or they want to sail as much as they can. But when there's high winds, like now, 39 knots of wind where they are, I doubt they'll be sailing much or with reduced sails, and also divert away from it a little bit as well. So you can see today 39 and 36 knots of wind. So here in the bottom you can see the wind, and then in the very bottom you can see the wave height as well. So we can track down a little bit, and on the track you see a little white dot pulsing, and that is where they would be if they do 12 knots. But like I said, they're probably going to stay a little bit further south of this, or else they would be in the thick of it. But you can see the wind is dying down a little bit, but the waves are still quite high. Now this map is showing the waves, not the wind, but you can see the wind down below. And if they track a little bit further and further and further, this is Saturday. And then here on, let's see, on Monday, they're going to be in a lot of wind again, about 32 knots of wind on Monday and 5-meter waves. So that's quite a lot. And then they can make their way further down. And it looks like they're stuck between two systems there. They're going to get pushed by some big waves coming from behind. And then while they make their way into the Bay of Biscay. Now, the Bay of Biscay is notorious. I've been to there a couple of times, and there's always high wind and high waves. Not always, but when there is, it's quite bad. It's because it also bounces off the coast and it comes back, and it makes it all very messy on the water with crazy waves. So like I said, they could actually arrive on the, let's see, on the 14th, but that would be with a cargo ship with an engine going 12 knots straight to your destination. But if you're sailing, let me give you an update on the damaged sail of the Neoliner Origin. So when they went on their first Atlantic crossing from Saint-Nazaire, France to Saint-Pierre, which is also France, they got damage to their sail because they were also having to deal with a lot of wind. So this photo over here is on the evening of October 24th. Neoliner Origin arrived in Saint-Pierre for its very first stopover in the archipelago. Now, I'll show you where that is. So they left from Saint-Nazaire, France here across the Atlantic, and then Saint-Pierre is right over there. And it's actually a French island with French citizens, and they are European citizens right there. Now, when I saw the French name, I thought it's a French-Canadian island, but it is not. This is a pure French island. So then there was some more updates here on the website from Neoline. This 24-hour call was marked by the unloading of goods, as well as some maintenance work on the top panels of the aft mainsail, which had been damaged. These panels are currently being repaired in the ship's workshop by onboard teams from Chantier de l'Atlantique, Multiplast and CDK Technologies, so that they can be reinstalled as soon as we call at Baltimore and make full use of the sails on the return trip. Chantier de l'Atlantique, they are the ones that have designed the solid sail system, also manufactured and also installed it on the Neoliner Origin. So it makes sense for them to be on board to help to see how they can repair those damaged sails. Here you can see a photo of the Neoliner Origin where it is docked in Baltimore, and you can see it has its mast tilted down because they have to go under bridges. And you can see on the forward mast, it still has its mainsail. There's this triangle that is the top panel of the mainsail. So that is how it's normally supposed to look. But if you look at the aft sail, you see that triangle is missing. But also when you zoom in, then you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 panels that are laying on top of each other. And normally that's about 10 or 11. So they took off a whole stack of panels to repair the solid panels. Here's another photo of the Neoliner Origin in the port of Baltimore, and you can see they are offloading the containers with a tug master. But more importantly, here on the port side, you can see a barge. And I think that they have offloaded these panels that were on the mast and they've put them on the barge so that they could repair them there. Now, why would they not put them on the top of the ship? Because you can see there is some area where they can also put those panels. But as you can see, those panels are quite large and they're probably also quite heavy. And I don't know if this deck is rated to have that much weight on top of it. So that is why they probably decided to take those panels off the ship but put them on the barge on the port side. Now, why not on the dock? Well, the Port of Baltimore will probably say, well, we don't want you to be working there on your sails by putting them on the dock. There is our trucks are driving around there. That needs to stay open and clear because, as you can see, there is all containers stacked over here and trucks go by and so on. So that's probably why they had to get a barge, put the panels on the barge, repair them there, and put them back on the ship. That is my best guess, and I hope they have it repaired. I have seen some photos of them rigging it back, so I think they got it repaired and they're on their way with all sails working. Now let's have a look at the bridge, probably my most favorite place on any ship, and you can see it's has a very modern design with some wood paneling, nice floor, big windows, and of course the bridge console here with all the navigation equipment. And I like the color gray, makes it look nice and modern. This is the center console of the bridge equipment, and you can see there's a chair over here and there's a chair here, and the officer of the watch normally sits in the right hand seat. And this is the steering wheel right over here. Now, the big screens are, of course, very important. Right in front of the seat of the officer of the watch is the radar. And you have a control panel over here with a mouse, but also some dials where you can dial in the variable range marker or the electronic bearing line. But you can also adjust the gain, or when there's a lot of rain, you can adjust the rain clutter and the sea clutter as well. So when there's a lot of sea, you can tune that up or down. And you can also set the brilliance of the screen and stuff like that. So that's what that is. And the radar screen is, of course, very important. But what is also very important is the electronic chart display, which is right to the right of it. So that will have all your electronic charts. I had a look at the ECDIS that they are using on board the Neoliner Origin, and it is by Oceanics, which is a next generation modular and highly advanced navigation system. And each module addresses a specific need and all communicate harmoniously with one another. And it is by ECDIS Engineering. So obviously there is more than just the electronic chart display. You also need to have an autopilot. But the Neoliner Origin, they are also using a weather system to optimize their sailing voyages. So they have the ECDIS called MapPix, which is our approved ECDIS system, electronic chart display information system, dedicated to displaying navigation charts, planning and monitoring routes. Then they have the autopilot, which is also integrated. And you can see it is powered by advanced algorithms to control all kinds of actuators, thrusters, rudders, and the first system with native integration to any kind of wind propulsion system. Again, it makes sense why they chose for ECDIS Engineering, because they have it all what they need in one solution. Then they also have dynamic positioning, which means that, for example, if you cannot anchor somewhere because it's too deep, but you want to stay in a certain position, then this system will help you to stay in position. It will then automatically choose which thrusters or which propeller to use and how much thrust. So that is very cool. But very important for the Neoliner Origin, they have the tactics, which is the weather routing and analysis, so that they can plan efficiently any kind of voyage with our disruptive software tailorable for any ship, conventional sailing ships or hybrid vessels. Now, this is all of the above. It does sailing, but it's also hybrid because it's diesel electric, but it has also electromotors. So yeah, based on the most advanced multi-objective optimization algorithms, our systems help the operators to cut their fuel consumption up to 40% for wind-assisted vessels. As you can see, this is a very good choice for the Neoliner Origin. By the way, if you're enjoying my Maritime Insights so far and you're into shipping and shipping news and ship tours, then hit that like and subscribe button. Why is this important? Well, if you click like, then more people will see this video and that will help grow the channel. Also, the channel will grow if you click subscribe. And if the channel continues to grow, then I will be able to continue my Maritime Insights for you. So if you're enjoying this video so far, then click that like and subscribe button right now. If we go back to the center console here in the middle, that's like a conning display. You can put all kinds of information on there for engines or ship position or where the wind is coming from. So or even their actual sails. These are all multi-functioning displays. So you can put any kind of screen on any of those. But this is like typically the layout. Also here, again, there's the other navigator can sit here in this left seat. We'll have the radar in front of him and the electronic chart display on the left of that as well. Now, if we go all the way to the back, then this is the main engine control right over here. And then these are two thrusters. So these are the bow thrusters because it has two bow thrusters. And then it also has one stern thruster, which is this over here. Then this is probably like the echo sounder showing the depth underneath the keel. Then you have like a VHF radio over here. Same on there. This is probably the telephone on the bridge. Right over here, this is a microphone, and this is for the public announcement system. So if there is a drill or there is a real emergency, you can make announcements via this microphone right over here to everybody on board the ship. And then over here in the middle, you can see some green buttons, and that is actually the ship's horn. And the ship's horn can also be set to go off. For example, every minute or every 2 minutes or 3 minutes, you can set that yourself. So if you're in fog, then you can set that automatically so you don't have to press it yourself all the time. I'm not familiar with these two pieces right over here. So this one right over here and this one right over here, which tells me that this has probably to do with the specific capabilities that this ship has, which is sailing. And it is immediately to the left of the officer of the watch. And these are also all controls to control the ship. So I think that this has to do with the operating of the sails. Now there is a different console that I'll show you in a second where they will actually hoist the sails and where you can operate the sails. But I think this is probably also part of operating the sails. And then this part over here, I would say that's probably for the anti-drift fins right over there, because this does not look familiar to me at all. So I think these two pieces have to do with the sailing capabilities. Like I said, the anti-drift console over here, and then operating the sails from here. Here you can actually see the displays that they use to control the sails. And of course, the proud CEO, Jean Zanutini, standing right over here. But you have the display here for the forward mast. And then you can control the mainsail, but also the jib. And then here is the aft mast. And you can control the mainsail and the jib as well. And then to the left of it, here you see a monitor. And it has all the monitors or cameras that are facing the sails. So when you're hoisting the sails or changing the sails here on these displays, you cannot see it because they are above you and behind you. So you can look on these cameras that will show you what those sails are doing when you're pressing all these buttons over here in the bottom or on the display. And obviously there's a big red button over here, emergency button if something goes wrong. Here is a close-up of the displays. So here's the forward mast display, and then right next to it, like I said, the cameras. So they are facing the mast, they are facing the boom, they are facing the jib, so you can see exactly what is happening above you and behind you. Now, this kind of display you don't really see on any ro-ro cargo ship anywhere, because it obviously has sails. And you can see here, you can have a look at the overview, you can look at the gyration, you can look at the mainsail, which is displayed right now. Then you can have a look at the jib, the tilting of the mast, you can change settings, there's a PLC network, you can look at trends, events and alarms. And the alarms are also showing here in the bottom, as you can see. But you can see the hydraulic pack right over here, and then it will show you exactly in what position the sail is right now. And then here you have some more navigation data, and it says the heading, the course over ground, the speed over ground, and the speed through water. And then here you have the apparent wind angle, the apparent wind direction, and the apparent wind speed, and also the true wind angle, the true wind direction, and the true wind speed right over there. Because this is a sailing ship, you can also adjust the backstay, and you can do that right over here. As I mentioned earlier, the ship also has anti-drift fins, or dagger boards, or keels, however you want to call them. And there's one on port side and one on starboard side. And what they help you do is that when a ship is sailing and there is wind coming from the side, then if there are no fins or dagger boards, then you will just be pushed by the wind, and you're actually not turning that momentum into a forward momentum to go forward. So that is why you need these fins. The ship normally has a draft of 5.5 meters, but with these fins extended, then it's 12 meters. So that's another 6.5 meters. And obviously when you're going into a port, you don't really need those fins, and you can retract them, and then you have less draft to get into a port. Here is a photo of the anti-drift console, which is in the ECR, the engine control room, right over here. Now, I'm sure they have the same console on the bridge, so they can operate the anti-drift fins from there. Typically with on all the cruise ships you will have stabilizers. Of course they are not the same as an anti-drift fin, but they are very similar, but they extend horizontal and not vertical. But we would operate them on the bridge, and then we would call the engine room to check if they were fully extended and working properly, or if they were fully retracted. On this side of the console, you can control the port side fin. And if you click on anti-drift mode, for example, then it will extend the fin out. And if you click on retract, then it will say, like here on a screen, it says housing in progress, which means that the fin is being retracted. Here you can control the starboard fin, and then obviously it's also very important who has control, because there are a few of these controls on the ship, on the bridge, like I said, in the engine control room, but also locally by the actual fin. So here you can set who has control, if it's remote control, bridge control, engine control room control, local control, or manual control. In the following episodes of the Neoliner Origin, I will again update you on their transatlantic voyage, but also continue to do a deep dive analysis on the cargo that she has on board, the ports and the docks that she has visited, and the complex hybrid propulsion system with wind and diesel engines and electro motors. So don't miss out. Click that subscribe button right now. And if you want to see another video of mine, then watch this video right over here. See you next time. Origin.